Hi, my name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm a Cavoodle puppy coach and breeder for Noodle Way and River City Puppies. As a coach, my philosophy is simple. A Cavoodle should always complement your lifestyle, not complicate it. And this is the foundation to everything I teach. For almost the past decade, I have been working in the breeding, training, grooming, and veterinary sectors of the small animal industry. I've also been raising Cavoodles for the past 16 years, so I have definitely learned a thing or two about the breed along the way. Now this podcast is all about Cavoodles. Raising Cavoodles, training Cavoodles, grooming Cavoodles, breeding Cavoodles, and how to shape the behavior of a Cavoodle puppy. So if you're a Cavoodle parent or you are looking at adding a Cavoodle to your family soon, then this podcast is for you. New episodes will be released each Tuesday morning, and you can follow me across all social media under the name @OodleWay for more tips and advice on Cavoodles. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome back to episode 52 of the Cavoodle Coach podcast. My name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm your host. In today's episode, I really want to talk about a very, very, very important topic when it comes to raising a puppy, and usually something that is very easily overlooked and missed. But if you can fix this little issue, it really can help straighten out a lot of the issues that come along with having a puppy. Things like biting, barking, excessive energy, all of the craziness. It'll really start to slow down if you can really nail your puppy's sleep. So that's why in today's episode, I want to go through 3 signs that your Cavoodle puppy is overtired and what to do before the chaos hits. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so when you have an overtired puppy, they simply cannot think straight. They are so tired that there is no thought process to their actions. And when they are overtired, they start to do a lot of things that we really don't want them to do. That is when a puppy is most naughty. It's when they're tired. It's not because they are purposely doing naughty things. It's simply because their brain is so tired that they're not thinking straight and they're acting out. And that's similar to with a baby or a toddler. If they're overtired, they also tend to have a little bit more of a shorter temper. They tend to be a little bit more whiny. They can really start to do things you don't want them to do. And it's because their thought pattern just kind of stops because they're tired. So it's really important that we get our puppies into a really good routine and schedule so that all of their sleep requirements are actually being met. Because if our puppy is getting all of their sleep requirements in, it's going to mean that the time when they're awake, they're going to be a lot more settled. They're going to be thinking more clearly. They're going to follow your direction better, and they're going to make better choices inside the home. So rather than chewing on your furniture table legs or whatever, they'll choose to chew on their toys. But if they're tired, well, they tend to just chew on whatever is in sight. So puppies and their sleep is a really, really, really big topic. It's a really important topic, and it is one of the most essential parts of raising a puppy is making sure they get enough sleep. So let's get straight into it. I want to talk about why it's so important to make sure that our puppies don't get overtired. So what I find a lot of families tend to believe when they're getting a puppy is they're under the belief that when a puppy is tired, the puppy will start to slow down, they'll start to wind down, they'll be sleepy, maybe they'll relax on the ground a little bit more, they'll show signs of wanting to sleep. But in all honesty, for puppies and Cavoodles, it tends to be the opposite. When a puppy gets tired, they just seem to ramp up. They just keep going. And so when they're getting tired, what we don't see is we don't see a puppy lying on the ground going to sleep. Instead, we see a puppy who starts to run around. We see a puppy who starts to bite your ankles, chasing after you. We see a puppy who starts to bark at you because they're so tired. And we just see them start to have the zoomies usually, which is the time of the day where they zoom around the house like crazy psycho puppies. And usually you go, oh my gosh, what happened to my really nice, well-mannered puppy? They seem to have gone crazy. And that is when they are really, really tired. So a really big myth we see is that people, if they've never had a dog before, they tend to think that the puppy will just show signs of needing a sleep and they'll act tired.
But instead, in reality, puppies actually just ramp up and they go more crazy. And when a puppy is overtired, they get really overstimulated and they get over-aroused. And when we talk about arousal in puppies, we're talking about their excitement levels. And so what that means is when they're overstimulated and they're over-aroused, and they're also simultaneously too tired to self-regulate their emotions, that combination of the overstimulation, the over-arousal, the inability to regulate their emotions does lead to all of the biting, the barking, the jumping, the zooming around, all of the naughty puppy behaviors. And then the hard part is if your puppy is in that stage where they are overstimulated, over-aroused, too tired to self-regulate, when they're in that stage and then we try and put them to sleep, it is so much harder to get them to sleep because now they're past the point of being tired and they're overtired and they're overstimulated, over-aroused, and they're not going to want to go to sleep as easily. So when we miss that window of tiredness and the puppy goes into the window of overtired, it just becomes chaotic. All calmness goes out the window. And it's really hard to then get the puppy to sleep, which is the solution to all of this crazy behavior. So having a puppy who is overtired is a really, really big deal. We need to make sure that we get them to bed before they get to being overtired, because if they get overtired, it is so much harder. And they're also going to be practicing all of these behaviors we don't want to see. And this is something I say all the time to the families who are in my Cavoodle Training Academy program. We want to make sure that our puppies are not practicing any behaviors we don't want them to do forever. So if we don't want our puppy to bark at us for attention or jump on us for attention, then we need to make sure the puppy is never practicing these behaviors. Because if they're practicing those behaviors, in your puppy's little brain, they're learning that this is how they communicate to you when they are feeling that way. So if our puppies are getting overstimulated, over-aroused, overexcited, overtired, and then they're barking and jumping and biting and zooming around the house, your puppy is learning that when they get overstimulated or over-aroused, that's how they're going to react. And we can take that exact same feeling into other scenarios in life. Something like walking out in public and our puppy starts to see, well, there's a bus driving past, there's people talking. Oh, look, there's a dog down the street barking. Oh, there's a cat walking down across the street as well. All of these things are overstimulating the puppy. The people and the dog is making the puppy overexcited, which is over-aroused. And because at home, when the puppy feels that way, those emotions, they start to bite, bark, and jump. Well, in this social setting, when the puppy feels that overstimulation and that over-arousal feeling again, the only way they have learnt to work through those emotions is by biting, barking, and jumping. And so your puppy who was walking on their lead nicely is now dragging you down the street on the lead. They're barking at people. They're chewing on their lead, trying to bite it. They're trying to jump on everyone they see. And you're saying, my gosh, my puppy is so naughty. What am I doing wrong? And what you're actually doing wrong is that when your puppy is feeling those emotions at home, the way that they are communicating this and working through it is actually confirming that feeling and the reaction, and we're not actually telling them another way to feel. And so the really important part here is that when we have our puppy feeling overstimulated, over-aroused, overtired at home, that we as the family straight away from day one, we are showing our puppy and guiding them into actually relaxing and going to sleep. This is it's something a puppy needs to learn. They are not born naturally knowing how to relax when they are tired. They feel tired, but they don't know what to do when they feel tired. And until we show them and tell them and help them learn to relax, they're going to do the biting, the barking, and jumping because that's the natural reaction for them. But we need to teach them, hey, Max, when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling overstimulated or overexcited, the best thing to do is actually lie down and have a sleep because it's going to make you feel better. And we want you to relax your emotions, regulate those emotions, come back to being calm and focused. And that's going to make you feel better, Max. But if you bite, bark, and jump, it actually makes you feel worse because you get even more overstimulated and even more over-aroused and even more overtired. And then because you're biting, barking, and jumping on us, we get frustrated and annoyed at you, and we might yell at you, which makes you feel horrible and confused, and it's miscommunication, and the whole situation is really going to spiral out of control. So what we want to do is we really want to make sure that one of the biggest things we are teaching our puppy when they come into our home, yes, teaching them how to sit and lie down and stay is all well and good, but are we teaching them how to deal with their emotions? Are we teaching them how to deal with overstimulation, over-arousal, over-tiredness? And are we teaching them how to actually work through those emotions in a way that actually supports our vision for our dog? And what I mean by vision is I can almost guarantee that every single person out here wants to have a puppy and a dog who knows how to relax and calm down and go to sleep when they feel tired. And if that's something you want in your puppy, the truth is you have to teach it to your puppy. That is something you have to teach, and it's not something you can teach with a few training sessions at puppy school. They're not going to teach you how to teach a puppy to lie down and relax. It's something you have to do by learning about behavior cues from your puppy, being able to identify the early signs of your puppy getting tired, the early signs of your puppy getting overstimulated and over-aroused, and then understanding how we can then guide the puppy into that relaxation mode to actually relax and calm down. And that is something that has to be practiced from day one, because again, remember, if on day one your puppy gets overtired, overstimulated, over-aroused, and they start to bite, bark, and jump, and we let them bite, bark, and jump, well, guess what? On day two, when they feel that way again, they're going to do it again, and they're going to do it even more intensely. And they're going to think this is how they communicate. And so the biting becomes more frequent. The barking becomes more frequent. The jumping just completely intensifies. And they start running around the house with all of this energy. And a family then starts to really struggle with their puppy. So it's really important. We cannot miss the tired window, because if we miss the tired window, it's going to lead to the overtired window, which leads to chaos in the family for the puppies. And if they're not practicing that calm, relaxing behavior at home, when you go out in public and they feel overstimulated or over-aroused, they're going to react with the biting, barking, and jumping again, because it's all that they know. So now let's go through, like I promised in the episode, 3 clear signs that your Cavoodle puppy is getting overtired. Now, if you see any of these signs in your Cavoodle, what you need to do is you need to think in your head, hey, when was the last time that this puppy slept? And not the kind of sleeping where they're, sleeping and they have one eye open and then they shut it for a few minutes and then they open it again because they're trying to keep their eye on you and they have a bit of FOMO, where they have a fear of missing out. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, when did your Cavoodle puppy last have a deep sleep that lasted a couple of hours without waking? We need the puppy to be having quality sleep to actually be able to reach their sleeping requirements. So the 3 clear signs that your Cavoodle puppy is overtired. Number 1, the nipping and the biting starts to escalate. So we all know, and if you've listened to my other episodes, especially one a couple of weeks ago, biting is a very natural way for our puppies to try and communicate when they first come to our house, because this is how they communicated with their siblings and their mum. And so again, there has to be a behavior change with us for us to teach them that biting is not how to communicate with us. But every puppy is going to mouth and bite on you when you first bring them home. But if the biting starts to escalate and it seems like they're just trying to bite anything in sight and it's becoming a bit more frantic, families often think this is naughty behavior, but this is your first sign that the puppy is getting tired and they need to go to bed. The second very clear sign that your Cavoodle is getting overtired is they start to lose focus. So you're trying to engage them in a good structured game of fetch and they're not following. Maybe you're trying to engage them in a training session and they're just not focusing. Maybe they're just starting to run around the backyard and they get this wild look to their eyes, and their eyes are really wide. Their tails tend to go down low and they just start running and they're frantically running around. They jump off furniture. They try and bite your ankle as they run past. And it's not a very fun, joyful, running around, playful mood. It is a, oh my gosh, I'm about to go into a meltdown. I am tired. And if your puppy's experiencing that, they are definitely going into that overtired window, and they absolutely need to go to bed straight away. The third very clear sign that your Cavoodle puppy is overtired is when they start being defiant and maybe even barking at you. So let's say usually your puppy is, very calm and relaxed when they go into their playpen, but suddenly out of nowhere, you put them in there and they turn around and they start barking at you, or they start jumping all over the fence. Or maybe your puppy usually is very calm and gentle when you're practicing some handling with them, but then suddenly this time you've popped them in your lap, you've gotten out the comb, and now they are biting, and maybe they're trying to bite your hands, maybe they're growling a little bit. All of these sudden defiance moves, barking for no obvious reason, this means that they have a sensory overload. They are snapping at boundaries they normally accept, and they are very overtired. So if your puppy does anything out of the usual, out of the ordinary, and you go, "But why are you doing that? Usually you're so good when I do this." Their puppy is tired and they need to go to bed. And if you can understand this as a new family bringing home a puppy, it really is going to make your life with your puppy so much easier, because you'll be able to identify these early signs that your puppy is getting overtired. Now, of course, we can wait until we see these signs. So we can wait until the puppy starts to bite more. We can wait until they run around crazily with all this energy, with a wild look in their eyes. We can wait until they start barking or being defiant or not accepting things they were usually accepting, like being handled or going into their pen. We can wait for those things, but the best thing you can do as a family is actually get in before any of those signs are shown. And the way that we do this is we get our puppy into a really good routine during the day where they are awake at the same time, going to bed at the same time, having their naps at the same time, going on their socialization at the same time, having their training sessions at the same time, and getting them into a routine that is the same every single day. What this will do for your puppy is the first thing it'll do, and it makes a really big difference, is it gives your puppy a sense of predictability within the home. It's really important to remember that your Cavoodle puppy does not speak English. It does not speak your language. And so if we have a puppy and we bring them into a new environment, living with strangers in a strange house, and then every day we are doing different things with them and things are constantly shocking them, and there are things happening that they're not comfortable with, it can leave a puppy really on edge. It can really, really lead to that overstimulation, that over-arousal, which, as we've just spoken about, leads to the naughty puppy behaviors. Whereas if we can put our puppies into a routine where things are happening at the same time every single day, and each of the activities are meeting your puppy's needs for their age, so the amount of training they need, the amount of play they need, the amount of socializing they need, the amount of sleep they need, if we can do this, your puppy is going to have a sense of predictability, which is reassurance. It's comfort. And when they feel reassured and comforted, this leads to calmness. It then leads to focus. They're able to focus on you more. They're able to follow direction more because they have this sense of reliability in their day, and they know what's going to happen when they wake up, and they know when they're going to bed. And it also means that if we put our puppy into a really good routine, especially a really good sleep routine, it means that when your puppy starts to feel a little bit sleepy, we are putting them to bed, which is teaching them that, hey, Max, when you feel this way, what we do is we close our eyes, we go into our crate, and we have a sleep. And that is how we teach puppies what behavior we want them to see. We have to get them into a really good routine so that they know that when they first feel those very, very, very early signs of being tired, they then display the behavior we want them to do, which is sleeping, relaxing, and not getting even more tired and then running around crazily, biting your ankles, jumping all over you, barking at you, and just being a crazy, crazy naughty puppy. Okay? So that's the first thing, is we want to make sure that we get our puppies into a really good routine. And this routine is very dependent on the breed of dog that you have, because every breed of dog has different levels of needs. If you have a working breed dog like a border collie, well, their mental and physical enrichment needs are very, very, very much higher than a Cavoodle's needs, because they are a working breed dog, and a border collie was originally bred to herd sheep and cattle on farms all day long. And so if we bring that sort of puppy into a city environment or a home environment where they're not having that job every day, we have to do a lot of other things to meet those mental and physical enrichment requirements. So every breed is going to have different activities they need to be doing each day and different amounts of activities each day. So your routine is going to be dependent on the breed of dog you have, which is why you have to be following a trainer and a training program designed for your breed of dog, because otherwise it's a generalized training plan and it's not going to be designed specifically for your breed of dog, their original breed purpose, and what they need to feel fulfilled and calm during the day. The second thing that's really important is we need to make sure that the routine we have our puppies on is the correct routine for the age that your puppy is. A 5-month-old Cavoodle puppy needs very different things to a 2-month-old Cavoodle puppy. And so we need to make sure that we adjust the routine depending on our puppy's age, again, to make sure that they are breaching all of the requirements of that developmental period that they're in. So really important that the routine we're doing is very much breed specific and also age specific. What we also can do for our puppies, and this is really important, is we want to be doing activities throughout the day with our puppy that naturally promotes calm behavior. So you can hear about it all the time online, but the 2 things to keep in mind is when a puppy is licking and a puppy is sniffing, those 2 behaviors naturally release calming endorphins. And I don't mean licking your hand. Licking your hand is, well, you can let the dog do it if you want, but if they start licking your hand as a puppy, they'll be licking you for their whole life. So just be okay with that. It comes down to the individual family. But rather than licking your hand, I want to see them licking a good enrichment toy. Licking an enrichment toy that captivates their attention for half an hour at a time. And I also want them sniffing a lot, using their nose to sniff and explore so that these natural calming endorphins are released, which can help to settle them and put them in a really calm state of mind, rather than having them getting a bit bored, not practicing these natural settling behaviors, and then they start to get cranky and they start to bite and they start to jump and they start to bark and do everything we don't want to see. So making sure that we are doing a lot of calming activities throughout the day with our puppy. And these activities, these calming activities using their nose and licking with their tongue, these things can be applied to every activity we do with our puppy. It could be applied to their training, their enrichment, their play, their socialization, their handling. All of these things can have licking and sniffing incorporated into it. And if you do this, it's going to create just a really, really good atmosphere for your puppy because of all those natural calming endorphins that get released when your puppy is licking or sniffing. And then the other thing that we can do to really help our puppy is we can really give them good, safe, calm place for them to retreat to when they are feeling sleepy. This is especially important if you have kids at home or any other pets at home. It's really important that your puppy can go somewhere that no one is going to come into. No one is going to interrupt them. A place that they can completely relax and stop being a bit watchful. For puppies, for dogs in general, they are always going to be, especially as they get older, they get protective of your home and they're always on that listening out for anything abnormal. But we want to give them a place where they can fully shut off all of that thinking and alertness and just relax. And one of the best things you can do is give your puppy a crate in a quiet room, no lights, no kids around, no pets around, a nice cozy blanket, maybe some lullabies playing in the background, just something really comforting, warm, and safe for them to relax in. That's going to really help your puppy, because if they don't have a place like this that they can escape to, your puppy is not going to relax because they're constantly on alert. They have nowhere they can go and relax in, and then they're going to get overtired They're going into that window where they can't focus or control their emotions anymore. And then the naughty behavior starts. So we need to make sure we support our puppy with a really good environment where they can relax in. Now, the one thing we do not want to do is if your puppy has gone into that overtired window, we don't want to try and combat it with playing and making them use up more energy. If your puppy is overtired, the last thing they need to do is run around, chase a ball, and do whatever it is you're wanting to do with them. If your puppy shows all this energy, it's because they are tired and they need to go to sleep, not because they necessarily need to have a play. And if you're sitting there and you're going, hey, Tiana, obviously puppies need to play during the day and they do have energy they need to work off. How do I know whether it's a sign that they want to play versus a sign they need to go for a sleep? That's when I say, this is when it comes back to your routine. If you are following a routine for your breed of dog, for the age that your puppy is, then you will know, hey, this is a play sign, my puppy wants to play, or this is a sign my puppy is overtired and my puppy needs to go to bed. The routine is the easiest way to know the difference, because if you are following the right routine for your breed of dog and the age that you're at, you'll be able to know, oh, it's 10 a.m. My puppy doesn't want to play. My puppy needs to go to bed, and you'll pop them to bed. So the routine is the key here. Otherwise, we can't speak dog. Dogs can't speak English. There's no other way to know other than making sure that our puppies are ticking all of their sleep requirements during the day. And if they are ticking all the sleep requirements during the day, then you know if they have energy at other times, that's a sign that they want to play, and you can engage them with some mental and physical enrichment. Okay, so that's the main big chunk. Now I want to help you with some really some advice on what you can do right now to really help you if you are getting a puppy and you want to avoid going through the chaos of an overtired puppy, or if you already have your Cavoodle puppy and they're showing all the signs of being overtired and they're not actually choosing to sleep, and how to actually teach them to do that. The first thing I'm going to say is that a puppy and their sleep requirements is something that really catches most families off guard at first. It's really easy to have a new puppy and for the hours to just roll by and just to simply forget about their sleep requirements. Especially for us humans, we don't really go about our day going, okay, it's been a couple of hours, I want to go for a nap now. We are able to stay up for the entire day until night. But a puppy isn't like this. So it can be really hard at first if you've never had a puppy before, or maybe you've never had a baby before, to not realize how frequently they need to go to sleep. So it's okay if this has caught you off guard. It's okay if you're experiencing an overtired puppy right now. The most important thing is that you're listening to this podcast episode, you're starting to understand that puppies who are overtired are naughty puppies. And so if your puppy is being naughty, they need to go to bed. And if you're understanding this, then you can start to make a change right now, today, in your puppy's routine. Now, like I said before, if you're going through it with a puppy or you're getting a puppy and you want to avoid it, getting your puppy into the right routine for their breed and their age is the key to getting them to sleep enough. And it's the key to having a really calm, well-behaved, focused puppy, rather than a really crazily energetic puppy who does all of the naughty things in the house and cannot focus on anything you say, and a puppy that doesn't listen to you. The difference is a lot of the time, the difference is sleep. Because if a puppy can't sleep well, the puppy can't focus to learn well. So it's really important. And if you are getting a Cavoodle or you have your Cavoodle puppy and you do want to follow a routine that is made for Cavoodles and it's made for their age, then I really invite you to click below into the Cavoodle Training Academy. This is my training program, which I have designed specifically for Cavoodles, no other breeds. It's for Cavoodles. It's for Cavoodles and what they need to have during their day to have all of their needs met, how much sleep they need, how much mental enrichment they need, how much physical enrichment they need, how much play, how much socialization, how much handling practice, how much practice we need to do inside of a pen, outside of a pen, toilet training, crate training. It's everything you need to follow to raise a Cavoodle puppy, to get them on the right routine, and to teach them how to make good choices in the home. So to go to sleep when you're tired rather than run around and bite you instead. So if you are getting a Cavoodle puppy or you have your Cavoodle puppy already, click the Cavoodle Training Academy link below. I would love to have you in the program. I become your Cavoodle puppy coach for 4 weeks. You follow 28 days of daily schedules designed for Cavoodle puppies to help you through the age your puppy is at, getting them into the right routine and training them properly to not have any behavioral issues. So that's the Cavoodle Training Academy. The entire program has 365 days access. So if you haven't got your puppy yet, I really recommend joining now because there's a really big Cavoodle preparation module, which is really important because it'll teach you how to understand your Cavoodle's body language signals, how your puppy is going to think, behave, react. It's going to teach you all about the sleep schedule, the crate training, the routine, what you need to buy for your puppy, what you need to organize. It's a really good module to do before you bring your puppy home. And then once your puppy comes home, you'll then move into the 28 days of daily training schedules. And each week for those 4 weeks, you can join me in a Q&A call and you can ask me absolutely any question you have about your Cavoodle puppy. It's in a group setting too, which is really beneficial because there'll be families a few weeks ahead of you in the program. And they also have so much advice. And they also just reassure you that what you're going through is normal and that there is an end to the tunnel. So that's the Cavoodle Training Academy. I would love to see you in the program. The link is below. And if you have any questions about the program, wondering if it's right for you, you can send me an email at hello@oodleway.co and I'll let you know if it's the right decision for you and your Cavoodle puppy. Okay, that's the end of this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it and I will see you next week for another episode of the Cavoodle Coach podcast. This has been your Cavoodle coach, Tiana Karamais. I'll see you next week. Bye.